tonight. So, links should be sent in the communities for you all to send in your questions. And then a prayer will be said by Mr. Timothy Roper. Then the candidates called to see in order of Tremaine. So, Mr. Timothy Roper.
Everyone, let's pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day and we thank you for making this day one day. We thank you that you've been able to bring us all here safely and that we are able to meet as a campus. We thank you for the opportunity to exercise our democratic right to vote and to listen to what our students have to say about it. I pray that you be with each of the candidates, God, that you will guide their steps, that they will be able to deliver some speech and they will be able to hear what the populace has to say. I pray that you will, of course, keep tonight's proceedings orderly and that it will go off well. Thank you very much for bringing us here this far, and I pray that you will take all of us back to our respective homes once this night has come to an end. In your name I pray. Amen.
Now we're calling down candidates. Mr. Jermaine Trotman, AJ Gordon, International Chairperson. Grayson Coffee, Chairperson. Union Committee Chairperson. So our first candidate giving their speech tonight will be Mr. Tremaine Trotman.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Clearfield Blackbirds, my name is Tremaine Trotman. And tonight, my goal is to convey to you why I am the best candidate to be your National Affairs Committee chairperson. When I was younger, I was not the most outspoken individual. I was a shy young man with a huge imagination. As I grew older, key figures in my life began to shape the person I will become today. My teachers, my instructors from cadets, my friends, and most importantly, the woman that instilled the drive that I have inside of me to this day, my mother. Today, I am able to speak at events like this and places I could never imagine. To be a leader in spaces I thought I would never go. The confident individual that stands before you all know was not made overnight, but through meaningful interactions, connections, and experiences of everyone I've ever met, whether good or bad. In this same vein, I can say that a good National Affairs Committee chairperson is not made overnight, but rather through the engagement with you, the student body. And while I acknowledge, to some I may not scream a big party goer, my ability to create and execute plans while working together with others to make sure that these plans are executed in the best way is what this makes me best candidate for this position. To build the NSC to build a new NSC is a goal of my tenure. As one lesson I would have learned along the way was to leave the place better than you found it. And now I truly believe that I have a chance to do so. That is why I have chosen to build my campaign around the mandate is awareness, culture, and engagement. So, what is awareness? Awareness is simply about making you, the student body, aware of all the opportunities on and off campus, whether it be sharing give back opportunities, highlighting available scholarships, or promoting student-led businesses. I will go to work for you every single day to ensure that you are aware about what matters to you. This will be done by ensuring clear communication lines and transforming the way you engage with us, the committee. Next, culture. This seeks to immerse you in the melting pot that the KFL campus has created, while highlighting different Caribbean cultures throughout the entire year, especially more Barbadian events and activities on the island, such as Agrofest and most recently, Porton Festival, so that we, as new students, can experience all the wonders here in Barbados. And finally, engagement, my UE Val Plus mandate. This seeks to bring back and establishing new ideas for UE Val, such as My Wanna Liquor, a campaign to educate you on how to party responsibly and safely to ensure an enjoyable experience for all. In this mandate, I also plan to partner with island associations in order to incorporate aspects of each island's culture into the UE Val festivities. And lastly, I also seek to establish the UE Val Ambassador Initiative. This initiative aims to give non-committee members the opportunity to be involved in the promotional aspects of UE Val, fostering a stronger sense of community spirit. And with that, the ace has been played. The table is now set, and the game is in full swing. Continue to keep pace with me over this campaign period. And remember to vote Tremaine Trotman as your next NACC.
Our next candidate is Mr. A.J. Gordon for International Affairs Committee.
Soy el futuro presidente del Comité de Asuntos Internacionales. Por supuesto, hablo español. I am the future IACC. Of course, I speak Spanish. Bienvenido, welcome to the start of advancement. Tonight marks the beginning of ideas and words coinciding with action. Instead of talking the talk, KFL will stand and walk the walk. We are on the cusp of advancement. Tonight, I will share with you my mandate, which I bind myself to fulfill during the 2024-2025 academic year. Firstly, KFL will have a pulse on international and regional issues. No longer can we sit idly by and feel like Barbados and CARICOM exist in a vacuum. Have we ever spared a thought about those people in Gaza, our neighbors in Haiti, or ponder upon the fate of the Essequibo River and our siblings in Guyana? I intend to host intellectual panel discussions and stirring debates and awareness initiatives. I also wish to pay courtesy calls to the diplomats and ambassadors in Barbados, as well as those in my home country of Trinidad and Tobago, to ensure that KFL is involved in the region's response and that we continue to advance our humanitarian efforts on a regional and international scale. Also, as we welcome our exchange students from North America and Europe, as well as our Martinican aviation students, I wish to create a welcoming environment for them at KFL. In addition to the facilitation of island tours and visits to historical and tourist sites, I aim to expose them to safe nightlife areas and stress the importance of safe practices. During the orientation period, I also intend to showcase the general culture of the Caribbean by exposing and explaining to them the various dialects, the cuisine, and the dance that is endemic to our region. So possibly, we might have to bring more doubles up from Trinidad, maybe have Johnny Cakes, manage water, and have another installation of the wine in class. Outside of orientation week, there will be regular social events between the IAC and the international students. A challenge for some international students is maneuvering CHOL and e-learning, and that is something I intend to assist them with throughout the semester. Lastly, under this mandate, I intend to compile a list of essentials and also work with halls admin to ensure that our exchange students can be well adjusted to hall life upon arrival. It has come to my attention that a language barrier exists between the residents of Sir Keaton Hall and the Martinicans that will be staying there on a yearly basis. Therefore, it is my intention to source qualified personnel from the Faculty of Humanities and Education to assist with overcoming the barrier. My third mandate deals with sustaining the working relationship between the IAC, the International Office, the West Indian Group of University Teachers, and the ICGC to possibly increase the amount of funding for scholarships for exchange program, as well as the introduction of a scholarship program for intra-regional exchange programs between the campuses. The amount of money our Blackbird spend on these exchange programs is inordinate, and therefore, for it to be a true benefit to students, we need money. My last mandate is simply to enhance those roles and functions which are constitutionally mandated for the IACC. Therefore, I will be assisting the Vice President, whoever they may be, with the regional integration effort through ICC Unity. Also, we will see the return of the Caribbean Majesty Pageant, which will see the inclusion of all island and country associations. Therefore, to all prospective ICC presidents, I look forward to working with you, and I wish to encourage you to start thinking about who can represent your association to become the next Mr. and Miss International. In this way, we can showcase the uniqueness and diversity of our region. I conclude at this point by stressing the importance of exercising your franchise, your right to vote. Work with me as I strive to work for you. Give me the chance to represent you, the KVL community. I can only bring these mandates to reality if elected. Therefore, come out in your numbers on March 14th and vote AG for IACC. Come along with me as we advance international affairs the AG way. I thank you.
Before we move on to the next candidate, when you're sending in your questions to the form, please specify which candidate you're addressing the question to. So the next candidate is Mr. Grayson Coffey, for Games Committee Chairperson.
Strap on my belly, top of the moon.
To the moderator, my fellow candidates, the audience, I bid you all a good night. My name is Grayson Coffey, hailing from the land of sun, sea, and sun, Antigua and Barbuda. I may not be the best public speaker, as you can probably tell, but I am an individual who has always been fully immersed in the world of sport. Whether it be organizing, officiating, or participating in sporting activities from a young age. Here at KVL, I am a cricketer with the UB Blackbirds, the Sporting Games chairperson for the Frank World Hall, sit on the current games committee, and I'm ready to take the next step. Come on this journey with me so you can get a glimpse of why Grayson Coffee as GCC was destined to be. First and foremost, advocacy. Advocating for students' individual use of sporting facilities. Time slots will be allocated for personal and individual development, which will be booked through the Games Committee, allowing access to facilities. These time slots would only be available during the periods the court is not in use by the UAE sports clubs. Secondly, education. Informing you about sports and games as in either culturally, historically, and scientifically through creative means such as trivias, fun informative videos, hosting watch parties during major sporting events, and partnering with faculties like MSA and the sport faculty to give health and fitness tips. This would include, but not be limited to, dietary and exercise plans. Lastly, reinvigorating sports on campus. This involves a series of sports festivals throughout the school year that would allow for more students to participate. These festivals will include halls rivalries, halls versus commuters, island associations, and inter-house festivals through the various sporting disciplines. Also, continuing along the path charted by my predecessors, Chancellor Sports activities will not only be introduced in the week it is slated for, but would begin during Freshers Week at the ICC Expo. This allows freshers to be acquainted with their houses, meet their house captains, and be able to purchase. Returning students will also be able to purchase their shirts. So now that you've heard the plan, tell me, is there a better agent for the mission? I can't think of none. On election day, vote Grayson Coffee for GCC. More games, more competition, and even more vibes. Remember, GC for GCC.
Our final candidate for this first section is Ms. Shalika Gray, a Union Committee Chairperson.
United. C, Cave Hills. C, Community. Good night, everyone. My name is Shalika Gray, your Union Committee Chairperson candidate for the academic year of 2024 to 2025. I am proud and honored to put myself up for service so that I can help give you the full university experience through my 5 engaging mandates. 1, the rotating menu. 2, the reintroduction of the Give Back Hours initiative. Welcoming the ambience atmosphere, the engaging events calendar, and the awareness aesthetic. So please, while you are here, allow me to explain this wonderful and fun-filled journey that I have in store for you. Let us start this tenure off right with the first mandate, the rotating menu. I would like to reintroduce the initiative of selling various food, fast food, and cooked food items at the Guild Bar. This will allow for an extension of the variety of food options available for you. After speaking with a few of the current council members, they would have indicated that there were some issues with the Guild Bar, which prohibited the continuation of this initiative. Once elected, I would like to use the transitional period to work alongside the current UCC to get these issues rectified. This would ensure a smoother process. The previous initiative will then lead into my second mandate, which is the Give Back Hours program. The reintroduction of this mandate will cater towards the needs of Barbadian students who are required to complete a certain number of Give Back Hours. The revitalization of the Guild Bar provides another avenue by which it accumulates this. Moving on to my third mandate, welcome the ambience and the atmosphere with me. I've seen the need for improvement concerning the tidiness of the guild. With the intent of maintaining a clean area within the guild union building, upon my election, I hope to purchase air fresheners, and along with my incoming committee, I will at regular intervals sweep and tidy the public space. With the help of the incoming guild members and the union committee, I hope that this will give an improvement. However, I strongly believe that keeping the guild clean is a team effort. Together we can make the guild more comfortable by being responsible for whatever waste we need to get rid of. Additionally, I would like to revitalize the engaging events calendar. This will include 3 recreational categories. 1, chill vibes, 2, beer limes, 3, entertainment. The chill vibe section should be able to encourage and engage the Blackville community on Friday nights. These interactive nights will include poetry, comedy, games, and so forth. I, however, recognize that there are specific weeks dedicated to faculties, associations, and councils alike. Hence, I would like to host these events in collaboration with the incoming executives once I am elected for this position. Have no fear. The beer limes will be there. There will be a minimum of 2 beer limes within a semester, 1 at the beginning and 1 before the study week. The last segment within this is entertainment. In many bars, customers have the privilege of viewing live sporting events alike while they sit, eat, and drink and enjoy. Therefore, I plan to utilize and monitor the television in the guild to play highly anticipated live and sporting events amongst the K-Ville populace. Also, I would like to bring forth some games like Uno and Dominoes to allow for relaxation, encouraging interaction among students between their classes if they need a study break. My last mandate is the aesthetic awareness. This will be done to raise awareness of different international days like International Men's and Women's Day and so on, through decorations, TikTok videos, and various innovative methods. In addition to these ideas, my role as Union Committee Chairperson demands that I take care of the Guild Union in its entirety and all the equipment that it currently holds. Therefore, I would like to implement a proper documentation system where equipment needs to be borrowed and implement a caution fee for the equipment in case said asset is damaged. I intend to also work alongside the current UCC to purchase tables and chairs to add to what the Guild currently has in their possession. As I close off this speech, I would just like to remind you of my plans for uniting K-Ville's community. These include the rotating menu, the reintroduction of the give back hours, welcoming the ambience and atmosphere of engaging events calendar, which is inclusive of the chill vibes, beer lines, and entertainment, and finally, the awareness aesthetic. I hope that my ideas and plans will entice you to exercise your right to vote CG for UCC. UCC, UC, CG.
Okay, we'll now move on to the question section. The guild members will go first. While they are going, feel free to send in your questions to the form. You all can also come down. Feel free to come down and ask the questions as well. Okay.
Good night, everyone. The first question is for the IACC. The first question is, how will you encourage and facilitate student participation in international conferences, seminars, and exchange programs?
Student engagement is a critical element in determining the success of these events. Now, to allow for student engagement I believe incentives are a critical area that we could look at. So I was thinking about partnering with the Debate Society so that, yes, when we have a debate, yes, there will be prizes for persons competing in that debate. There will be incentives. Also, if we can't understand or appreciate that international relations and affairs are critical to our survival as a small island state or a small region, then we have lost the mark, or we have lost the focus of what it means to be CARICOM, what it means to be at UWI. So I believe that incentivizing these incentivizing these engaging activities such as debates and speeches would help along with that person's passion.
The second question is also for you, AJ. What strategies do you propose to enhance international collaboration and partnership opportunities for all local and regional students to benefit from study abroad opportunities with the region, but also outside of the Caribbean? What strategies do you propose to enhance international collaboration and partnership opportunities for all local and regional students to benefit from study abroad opportunities within the region, but also outside of the Caribbean?
Within my presentation, I would have spoken to our existing partnerships that we have with the West Indian group of university teachers who already provide a substantial amount for our exchange programs. What I emphasize is that I will be looking to meet with ambassadors and diplomats to ensure that, for example, Canada has recently introduced a more rigid immigration system, and they are seeking to pull back some of the funding for our exchange programs. So my mandates focus on reaching out to ambassadors and diplomats like that to ensure that we maintain the level of funding or even increase it. I can't do that by myself. There's a team effort. So I would work with the other guilds to ensure that the region sustains their funding for international study abroad programs. Speaking intra-regionally, I spoke about the lack of funding for intra-regional exchange programs, and therefore it is my intention to seek the support of the Inter-Campus Guild Council to return or to reintroduce the scholarships for intra-regional exchange programs within UWI. Thank you.
The next question is for Chilika. The running of the union committee has been degraded. What do you plan to do to address the dismal state of the bar and by extension the union committee? The running of the union committee has been degraded. What do you plan to do to address the dismal state of the bar and by extension the union committee? Just repeat the question again. The running of the union committee has been degraded. What do you plan to do to address the dismal state of the bar and by extension the union committee?
Okay, so thank you for that question. I will try to raise some funds so that these funds could help to whether it be the guild or to actually do some repairs inside the bar, so that means that the initiatives can further be can be done. And also, as it regards to the committee, I will make sure and have like not an election but like appointments, proper appointments, run through a whole interview process and pick the best persons that I feel that they could suit the positions that are on the committee.
The next question is for the GCC candidate, Mr. Coffey. Considering the nature of any academic week and how packed the weeks are, how do you plan to remain flexible enough to ensure that you execute your promises of multiple sports festivals throughout your tenure?
Good night. So to do this, I think it would be a good idea to work along with these different associations and incorporate these festivals during the weeks.
Good answer.
This question is for the NACC candidate, Mr. Tremaine. After running for FSS representative and serving as deputy FSS rep, why such a drastic shift to decide to run as NACC?
Well, I felt after serving as the vice president and the leader that we set a good standard for how the FSS committee should be run, and that I have given all that I could in that position. And with the constitutional change of the guild that I just went through, the NSC has new responsibilities, well, not necessarily new, but expanded responsibilities. And I believe this position best serves me. It gives you the greatest opportunity to serve you, the student body.
Okay, the next question is for the IACC candidate. Since IACC is not as known as the other committees under the Guild, in what ways do you have planned to build the awareness of the committee across the campus besides the ones that were implemented by the current chairperson?
I believe that the IACC may not be as well known as the other committees because it primarily focuses on exchange students more than our local and regional students. However, as we move into the future, as I would have described before, we would be having these initiatives such as debates, such as intellectual panel discussions, to raise the profile of the IACC, and the advancement that I'm speaking about, or that I spoke about, will include a heightening of the PR of the IACC. So you will see the IACC flyers, the events being showcased on the Guild as well as the IACC Instagram pages, and we will be coming and engaging the local and regional students in addition to our exchange students. So don't worry, next year will be better.
question is for Chalika Gray. Okay. How do you intend on raising funds for your first mandate that you stated? Sorry. How do you intend to raise funds for the accomplishment of Mandate 1 and revitalization of the Guild Bar?
Thank you for that question. So I'll try to work alongside the current UCC to see what we currently have, and then we could work out some things like possibly selling juice or pastry, something that's not really that expensive, but something that could bring in income towards the guild, and then we could see where we could go from there afterwards.
Okay, so the next question is for the NACC candidates. In your culture mandates, you said that you want to work to highlight more aspects of Caribbean culture, but Freshers Week traditionally features a culture night, the ICC Expo, and a jubilee with music from around the region. What exactly do you plan to do differently to achieve your mandate?
Thank you for that question. My culture mandate does speak to Freshers Week, but I believe generally year-round we need more activities and a greater immersion of these cultures, because Freshers Week is the first week of the semester and the new year, but we can do more than that. We can have different events throughout the year where we bring in persons from outside, professionals to speak about certain topics that are interested to you, and you, the student body, will have a forum that you can actually say, this is what I want to hear, and we can see how we can move forward in that aspect.
Okay, the next question is also for Mr. Shotman. The NACC is primarily responsible for organizing events such as Dewey Ball, which is arguably the biggest event at Dewey. Do you have any past experience with organizing events of this scale?
Currently, I am the Projects and Business Committee Chairperson for the CARICOM Youth Ambassador Committee here in Barbados. And earlier this year, we have sat and planned a whole calendar of events which will soon happen. So yes, while I do not have experience with this, I have experience that can be transferred to this single. I have already started working and speaking to OSS to see how we can actually go about this. And I've already emailed a worker in Guild in St. Paul's to see what is the budget like for what has the budget been like for you and what we can do to ensure that these funds are spent for this.
Continuation on that question. What industry relationships have you built to facilitate bringing the private sector on board?
Well, I'm Barbadian. Living in this country and being involved in a number of different activities, being in the department, being in cadets, being in the same initiative that I just spoke about. I have built a lot of connections over the years with government and private sectors, and that is how I plan to ensure that UBAL is successful.
Okay, our next question is from Mr. Gordon. How can you ensure the participation of all the island associations in the project?
In collaboration with the Vice President, I am constitutionally mandated to work in the ICC, and therefore there would be a relationship built from the start of the semester one. I would not be a stranger to, let's say, the JASAC president or the TTSA president, and therefore when it comes to February 2025 or January 2025, at the start of Caribbean Majesty, I don't intend to be forcing or forging relationships with any island association, because these relationships would have been long-standing. To ensure that everyone can participate, I intend to raise funds and seek sponsorship so that all island associations can send forth their candidates for Mr. and Miss International, and therefore we won't see certain island associations backing off because of lack of funding, etc. I want to ensure that there's equality across the region, and that is how I intend to do that.
Okay, so our next question is also to Mr. Gordon. Being that there are so much issues with sexual harassment, how do you intend to ensure your exchange students are safe?
Okay, so the safety of the international students has been a long-standing issue. It's not something that has just arisen. I can recall that last semester we had some issues. Myself being a counselor and Sir Frank Hall, I would have seen firsthand some of the safety issues with our international students. That is not to say that that will continue. To ensure that we can decrease, diminish, or eradicate that. I'm not God. But what I can do is possibly seek to form a relationship with the Barbados Police Service to ensure that we have, to ensure that the international students have campus security contact on their phone. And as I said before, when they arrive, I am sure to tell them that Barbados is not a place that is devoid of harm. And therefore, how we operate or how you all operate as international students, being that you are not from the region or not from the island, it needs to be so geared towards your safety to ensure that there's no harm to us. Thank you.
Our next question is for the GCC. How do you intend to ensure a fair and transparent process for selecting house captains within the gaming community, taking into account skills and leadership qualities?
In terms of skills and leadership quality, I wouldn't say that would be possible because the teams would be randomly generated. So in terms of equality across the board, in terms of the athletes, they won't be able to choose themselves like it was this past transfer sport, but randomly generated. In terms of skill, I'm not too sure about that as well.
Okay, our next question is for the NSCC. Are you aware that there is a summer camp during the July-August period for primary schools? If yes, have you any idea on how this initiative would be executed, considering it hasn't been happening since pre-COVID? Are you aware that there is a summer camp? Thank you. Are you aware that there is a summer camp during the July-August period for primary schools? If yes, have you any idea on how this initiative would be executed, considering it hasn't been happening since pre-COVID?
Yes, I do know about the summer camps that happened. I was involved with it last year. It is carried out by the Ministry of Youth and Sports here in Barbados. And I think that it would be a great, opportunity for Barbados students to know about this so that they can use it as give back hours.
Okay, our next question is for the GCC. The opening of the student gym has been an issue at the beginning of both semester 1 and 2. What kind of advocacy can you provide to ensure that this facility that the students pay for is available soonest at the start of any given semester? The opening of the student gym has been an issue at the beginning of both semester 1 and 2. What kind of advocacy can you provide to ensure that this facility the students pay for is available soonest at the start of any given semester?
That is a very good question. But I've already started working on this process. But from word from the Academy of Sport is the reason for the delay is that the gym assistants they have to wait for their confirmation of class schedule so that they'll be able to get their hours for the gym.
Okay, our next question is for Ms. Gray. Do you have any relations with the private sector to facilitate the running of guild events, as these relationships are deemed essential in the UCC's job description? Do you have any relations with the private sector to facilitate the running of guild events, as these relationships are deemed essential in the UCC's job description?
Okay, thank you for that question. Currently, no, I do not, but I have experience from Mr. Paul Miller's tenure. Sorry. I have experience because I was on his committee, so it's not that hard to actually reach out to him and speak to him about, the sponsorship that he had at that time and point in time.
Are there any persons that would like to come down and ask their questions?
Those asking where the questions are not being vetted.
Are there any other questions? Are there any other questions? If you have any questions, if you will downstairs for your questions.
My question is for the My question is for the NACC candidate. You spoke earlier about your experience creating and executing plans. I would like some illustration of that. For
Well, to bring my campus initiative, as Vice President, working alongside the management department of rep, we would have successfully held an initiative with students, a networking activity for students in the management department, where they came and involved persons outside of UWI within the public sector, within the public and private sector, along with SURU and also the presidents of the SDS, Common Students Association, and the UAE Young Economists Association, and that was an initiative that they successfully carried out, planned and executed.
Okay, that's it for this question segment. We'll be moving on to the next batch of candidates. So in our next batch of candidates, we have Mr. Shaboni Goman for secretary. Faith Ernest, secretary. Brianna Dupuy for vice president. And Tyson Holder for president. Our first candidate of the second section will be Mr. Shaboni Goman for secretary.
There you KFL Blackbirds. I am addressing this letter to you to discuss certain issues that I believe are of great importance. It concerns our experiences here as students and as leaders. Organization, connection, and communication. When I decided that I was going to contest the position of secretary, these were the topical areas that immediately came to mind for me to seek to formulate my mandates on. I still need further confirmation though that these were the points on which I should not only base my campaign, but also my future tenure. So, I did the obvious, and I went out and spoke to persons to find out what it is that they wanted. I confirmed with your friends, advisors, lecturers, and even your biggest critics to find out what they wanted to see from the Guild Council, and what I could bring to the Guild via the office of secretary. Through it all, I was pleasantly surprised to realize that the hopes and desires for a better campus, when summarized, could all fall under the areas that I had initially sought to improve on and advocate for. So the question now is, why organization, connection, and communication? The role of secretary is inherently an assisting role, which on the surface may be inclined to believe is relatively easy. You may also initially think that all that is needed is for them to record their minutes, send out reminders, and check emails. I am sure, however, that anyone here that has been a secretary before can tell you that it is the furthest thing from the truth. At a point in time, I also had this very same misconception. The secretary is meant to be the heartbeat of an organization, especially in the Guild Council. Anything that is sent out or received by the council, the secretary knows. We have the responsibility of liaising with almost every administrative and executive body on campus, while ensuring that everyone in the council itself is kept up to date. This duty, however, does not stop there, but also extends towards the campus. Hence why I intend to enhance the areas of organization, connection, and communication. The Guild portfolio seeks to improve upon the organization of the Guild Council as well as the campus itself. It will act as a digital information hub wherein students can obtain vital information about their counselors, such as short biographies, contact information, and written updates about their initiatives or responsibilities. If implemented campus-wide, it will serve to bolster the record keeping of all clubs and societies. Counselor office hours will also be implemented to improve accessibility in reaching and connecting with your Guild councillors. For at least 1 hour every week, you can know for sure that your faculty representatives will be in their faculty office, the accommodation representatives will be on their halls, and the other Guild councillors will be in the Guilds. This aims to reduce some of the ambiguity as it relates to locating a councillor, as well as provide a more direct way of interacting with them regularly. The Secretariat, which is a workshop, would work to connect ICC secretaries with experienced persons in the field, giving them first-hand comprehensive training to better assist them in fulfilling their roles. I am personally aware of the fact that many association secretaries take up this position for the first time and have difficulty adapting to the role. This workshop, which will occur at least once a semester, is geared towards easing that burden and fostering a community amongst the various secretaries. But take note, reader series, which will be done in collaboration with the PRO, ideally every month, to provide a more interactive format to communicate what the Guild has been up to, giving the student body greater insight to how the Guild is working for them. And finally, we must admit that student leadership is a voluntary role, one which at times can be difficult and often very thankless. Our peers are sacrificing hours of their time and effort that could be used for themselves to ensure that we all have an amazing new experience, embracing and indulging in the melting pot of cultures that can be found here. Hence, I intend to advocate for the various executive positions that students would have held throughout their time here at KFL to be added onto their official transcripts, providing certifiable proof of their achievements. In closing, I sincerely hope that the plans that I have formulated to implement and advocate for aid in your decision to support me as your next Guild Secretary, as I work to bridge the gap between the Guild and you. Every mandate and every initiative has been catered towards proving that I, Shabodi Bowman, am equipped, experienced, and ready to serve you as your next Guild Secretary. So please, please remember to take note that Boma is the right vote.
Before our next candidate goes up, just a reminder that there's a link in the communities for you all to ask your questions. And to specify who you are directing questions to. Our next candidate is Faith Ernest for the candidate for secretary.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, my fellow youth here in Blackburn. I am Faith Ernest, a second-year student pursuing her studies in business management. I am a dedicated youth leader, and I believe in being the change you want to see. I stand before you, humble and eager, to serve as your new guild president, your guild secretary, 2024 to 2025. I want to share my vision for the role as secretary and why I believe I am the best candidate. First and foremost, I bring to the table a wealth of experience in leadership and organization. As a past secretary of multiple organizations, I have sharpened my skills in communication, time management, and attention to detail. Additionally, I have held a full-time job as secretary where I further developed these abilities in a professional setting. These experiences have equipped me with the knowledge and skills necessary to excel in the role as secretary for the Guild. Let me emphasize the importance of effective communication within our student community. As secretary, my primary duty will be to ensure the information flows smoothly between the student body, the Guild, and the administration. I pledge to keep accurate records of meetings, disseminate important announcements in a timely manner, and to be a reliable point of contact for any concerns, suggestions from my fellow Blackburns. If selected as secretary, I will strive to uphold these values by actively seeking input from my fellow Blackburns and advocating for their needs. Here are my mandates I wish to fulfill through the tenure if I'm elected. We have one, HAIL, hearing advice from individuals' life. This is a campus mixer to aim to bring us together and strengthen trust with our counselors while ensuring transparency of the Guild relations. 2. Resource Digital Hub, created for the ICC bodies, to provide all necessary information they will need to perform their duties adequately. 3. Kickstart Retreat. This will be a bonding and training session for all secretaries on campus. Aligned with this mandate, I would like to implement a affairs management guide for all secretaries of the ICC bodies. A guide to ensure every secretary have a smooth and successful tenure. Last but not least, we have the KVIL Information Report Podcast, also known as CHIRP. These podcasts will update you on current matters concerning the student body, and these videos will be concise. These plans demonstrate proactive initiatives to improve student engagement and support. These matters are not only for secretaries of various organizations or clubs, but also to ensure the student body voices are heard and concerns and ideas are addressed. It is about fostering a sense of community and inclusivity within the campus. Furthermore, I recognize the importance of collaboration and teamwork in achieving our goals. As secretary, I will work closely with the fellow counselors as well as faculty and staff to implement a positive change and to make our campus the best it can be. In closing, I'm deeply passionate about serving my fellow Blackburns and making a positive impact on our campus. I ask for your support in the upcoming elections. On March 14, 2024, if I'm elected as Secretary, I promise to approach my role with integrity, diligence, and a genuine desire to make a difference. Together, we can build a stronger and more inclusive school community where every voice is heard and every student has an opportunity to shine. Thank you.
Okay, on to our next candidate, Ms. Rihanna Zupini.
This is a final morning call for all UWI Blackbirds to take flight rise with Captain Rihanna, destined for greatness. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Rise Airlines. Today, the captain in command is Captain Rihanna Dupini. We are pleased to have you aboard our aircraft today, and the captain has informed me that we will be taking all Blackbirds to a new height. Sit back and relax as I inform you of our safety instructions and plans for takeoff.
A pleasant good evening to all. Welcome aboard Rise Airlines. I am your captain in command, Rihanna Dupini. Fellow Blackbirds, I stand before you today as someone who believes in the transformative power of passion and a genuine desire to enhance our collective student experience. Hence, my campaign motto, Rise with Rihanna. A true leader is not just someone who leads, but someone who inspires. In pursuit of our enriched student experience, let us be guided by the words of Margaret Mead. I quote, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has." End quote. Together, let us create an environment where every student's voice is heard and their experiences are not just acknowledged, but actively improved upon. I, Rihanna Dupini, am passionate about being a catalyst for positive change, dedicated to fostering an atmosphere where our collective growth and well-being are at the forefront. Throughout my tenure as Frank Worrell Hall chairperson and president of DOMSAC, I've been driven by a commitment to advocate for others. Advocacy for me is not just a concept, it is a lived value. I have witnessed firsthand the positive changes that advocacy can bring to our community, standing up for those who might feel their voices unheard and championing causes that improve the well-being of our fellow students. Advocacy isn't about personal agendas. It's about understanding the diverse needs of our community and tirelessly working to address them. Whether it's enhancing student support services, amplifying marginalized voices, or pushing for policies that promote inclusivity, my dedication to advocacy runs deep. As your potential vice president and captain in command on this flight, I pledge to continue this journey. I will be your advocate in the Guild, tirelessly working to bridge gaps, create opportunities, and foster an environment where everyone feels valued and heard. Together, let us transform our challenges into triumphs, because in advocating for each other, we shape a stronger and more united community. Student leadership is not just about taking charge, it's about taking a flight to a new height, navigating uncharted skies, and inspiring others to soar alongside you. Today, we take flight. Blackbirds, I stand before you with a heart full of gratitude and a vision for a future where our Blackbird culture thrives. It is with deep appreciation that I acknowledge the remarkable efforts of our current ICC chair, Ms. Emily Williams. Her dedication has been instrumental in fostering Blackbird pride and revitalizing the ICC. As we move forward, I am honored to carry the torch Ms. Williams has ignited. My vision is to build upon the foundation laid and improve and expand upon the initiatives that have already brought a sense of unity and pride to our community. Together, we can enhance the Blackbird experience, ensuring that every member of our community feels valued and supported. I am not here just as a leader, but as a fellow Blackbird on this flight, dedicated to maintaining and enriching the unique culture that defines us.
With purposeful leadership and unwavering passion, I aim to positively change and foster an environment where every student can spread their wings and soar. My commitment to keep the Blackbird culture alive, enhance the ICC, and ensure that our culture is promoted and our clubs and society feel supported. In line with my mandate, Soaring Success, I aim to promote integration amongst our clubs, country and island associations, and provide them with the tools to ensure a successful tenure. Our cultural diversity here at the Cave Hill campus is unparalleled, and thus, with my mandate, ICC in the community, the ICC Outreach Program, we will showcase our cultural diversity on various platforms, while also sharing it with the wider Barbadian community. The preservation of our culture is vital as it anchors our identity, connects us to our heritage, while fostering a sense of belonging and shared history. Thus, my Preserving Our Legacy mandate aims to ensure that we have proper documentation and records of our clubs, country and island associations, and their respective traditions and practices, preserving their legacy. Moreover, I plan to create opportunities for student leadership building and career advancement, taking you to a new height. Our goals should lead to continuity, maintaining a standard that truly reflects this prestigious institution. Let's take flight and rise to the occasion. R, resilient, I, inspiring, S, strategic, and E, empowering. That's me. Together, let's rise with Rihanna as your Vice President. Thank you for trusting me to take command of this flight, and I look forward to advocating for you as your Vice President.
Ladies and gentlemen, the captain has informed me that we will be taking a brief layover at the Cave Hill International Airport. Our next flight will depart on March 14th, Election Day. Thank you for flying with Rise, and we do hope to see you again.
Come out on March 14th and vote Rihanna as your Vice President.
Another reminder to submit your questions through the Google form, please. Our next candidate is Tyson Holder for president.
Good evening, Blackbirds. I said good evening, Blackbirds.
Good evening!
Good evening, everyone, and members of our university community. I stand before you tonight as a passionate advocate for a more inclusive future for us all. I am Tyson Holder, here with the action, and I am committed to transforming our collective experience into one that exceeds and meets our expectations and needs. My vision for the Guild of Students, or the action plan, developed in consultation with you, has three main pillars. The I, improving inefficiencies, implementing new ideas, and increasing the university's voice and reach. To improve these inefficiencies, it is essential that there be one, a revamp of the UBChill app, two, the continued advancement of club activities and initiatives, and finally, more clear communication between the guild and the student body. Let's talk more access to information. I propose to you a structured three-phased approach aimed at transforming the UBChill app into a beacon of clarity and usefulness. By updating club and department information, integrating essential services like the shuttle tracking app, thank you Commuter Direct, the app can become much more useful and efficient, and feasibly leading to the attainment of better academic advising. The final phase would be to develop a sophisticated platform that enables students to create professional profiles and display their skills and other interests to create a much more interactive and engaging platform. Let's talk more campus life revitalization. I share the current Guild administration's view that the vibrancy of our campus life is the soul of our university experience. I commit to continuing this effort of increasing the subvention amount
for clubs and societies, as this will continue to promote a campus community that buzzes with more energy, creativity, and collaboration. Let's talk more transparent administration. To fortify the trust in the Guild's administration, I commit to a governance model rooted in transparency and accountability. By establishing a direct and effective feedback mechanism, providing a justification of expenditures, and making the detailed semesterly reports readily available for your scrutiny, we will ensure that the Guild is not only responsive to your needs, but also fully accountable of its actions and decisions. Pillar 2 of the action plan, the implementation of new ideas, is intended to harness the full potential of the Give Back program, as well as provide more opportunities for professional development and job placement. Let's talk more innovative volunteerism. The Give Back program holds immense potential for fostering a culture of volunteerism, networking, and professional development. And these are opportunities that all students, whether Trinidadian, Jamaican, St. Lucian, Grenadian, Vincentian, they should have seamless access to. Recognizing the current challenges of inefficiency and exclusion, my mandate includes a comprehensive overhaul of the program. As such, regional students who wish to participate fully in the Give Back program can do so. This ensures that all students have equitable access to opportunities to contribute and improve their professional life during and after our studies. One specific example is that volunteer hours strengthens our eligibility for scholarships, which mandate that you meet a certain amount of volunteer hours. And this is a key aspect of why this is important. Let's talk more opportunities for professional development. I've already spoken about the professional development opportunities that come with the Give Back program. However, more emphasis must be placed on enhancing these opportunities for professional development, as the transition from academic life to the world of work is a critical juncture for us all. I therefore propose a robust suite of professional development initiatives, including CV building workshops, interview preparation sessions, and an enhanced job placement and internship program. These initiatives will equip our students with the tools, skills, and opportunities they need to not only enter, but excel in their chosen fields. The final pillar, expanding the university's voice and reach, is one developed to leverage the Guild's capacity to act as a formidable platform for advocacy and representation for youth in the region. But let's talk more necessary activism. This particular mandate is one I hold very close to my heart, as my role as former VP of CARICOM Relations, current president of the Vice Chancellor Ambassador Corps, and as a youth parliamentarian have made me more aware of our own issues. In addition, I will leverage my position as second floor member of the Barbados Youth Development Council to not only advocate for you at the administrative level, but at the national and regional level as well. By engaging with key stakeholders in the private sector, the international development communities such as the CDB and the International Development Bank, and civil society, we will position ourselves as key players in shaping the youth development programming, not just regionally, but globally. In closing, I invite you to join me on this journey to reshape our Guild, and by extension, our university, into a place where access to information is effortless, campus life is thriving, governance is transparent, programs are inclusive, professional development is a priority, and our collective voice drives meaningful change. For more clarity, I encourage you to visit my website in the bio of my Instagram page, TysonHolder_, and utilize the feedback button at the bottom of the page. However, you and I will continue to engage nonetheless, now and even beyond the election, to ensure that I adequately can meet your needs of the student body. Above all else, I make a promise to you now that I will always act in the best interest of the student body and represent you with the highest amount of integrity. Thank you for your attention, your trust, and your support. This is the action plan. Shall we begin?
Okay, so we'll be moving on to our question segment. Yes, I know the form is closed. Okay, so we'll be starting from the form. The first question is for the candidate that is going up for president. Your presence has not really been felt throughout the campaign season. So your presence has not really been felt throughout the campaign season. Why must we put our trust in you to advocate and represent the Cape Hill population?
Thank you for that question, but I have committed to always being open and transparent, and the reality is that we only received confirmation of the confirmation of our candidacy last Friday. I've also been the one who created all of my graphics, and I've been working very hard, and I assure all of you that I will continue to make my presence felt. I will continue to engage with you, ask you questions, as I told you in my friend. Thank you very much.
What would you do in the event that a meeting is held within your Sabbath?
The Guild Librarian works along with the Secretary to assist in any of his duties. If I'm not able to be present, the Guild Librarian will be able to assist me in recording the meeting.
Our next question is for the president candidate. What would you take away from the current Guild's performance, and what would you do now to better the performance of the Guild in your tenure?
Thank you again for that question. I first would like to say that my favorite thing has definitely been the way that Emily would have carried out her duty as the vice president, and the ICC has been breathed new life into it. And by increasing the subvention, as mentioned in my speech, I will continue to enhance and ensure that activities such as the ICC Expo continue to happen, and they happen more elaborately and have a better outcomes for clubs and other organizations. So thank you very much.
Okay, the Guild and UWI are of two completely different magnitudes. UWI has not been as active and prominent on campus. My questions are as follows. What understanding do you have about the inner workings of the Guild? As Guild President, you are required to have a strong relationship with administration. Have you developed any relationships when you decided to run for this position? Which events, initiatives have you been involved in with this? Okay, the first one. What understanding do you have about the inner workings of the guild?
Okay, well, as president of UWSAT, again, although there are two separate entities, I must admit that this guild made sure and made certain that UWSAT did not feel separated and apart, and I must admit that that has worked wonders for us. In terms of our presence being felt, I can't say that I quite agree, because we were able to increase our amount of ambassadors from 24 to 33. And from simply having my representation as a Barbadian, we were able to get 9 more Barbadians involved and interested in joining UWSAT. And that is the things that I will continue to do as guild president. I also must add that it is constitutionally mandated that the president of the Guild of Students acts as the first vice president of the UWSAT Corps. So I will still very much actively be involved in helping UWSAT to be more felt on campus and understand what their role is as an organization. Thank you.
Next question. As Guild President, you are required to have a strong relationship with administration. Have you developed any relationships when you decided to run for this position?
Yes, please. I would have developed lots of relationships with administration. Specifically in my role as UWSAT, I would have had to do a lot of administrative processes to get certain activities and clubs going. And I definitely would have reached out to administration to ask their opinions on what do they think that I can improve. I did not just reach out to students, but I also listened to the administration, and I spoke to some lecturers about what they believe we need as students. So that is my contribution.
Which events or initiatives have you been involved in with the Guild that it showcases your experience and capabilities to lead the Guild of Students?
Okay, well, for example, I would have most recently, I would have participated in the Chancellor Sports. I would have played the basketball, I played the netball, I ran for my team. More recently, I also participated in the IAC pageant as Mr. BSA, and I think that I did an excellent job with that. And I have experience leading an organization. I understand and I've read the Constitution, and I can use my administrative skills and my background in economics to ensure that I continue to strategically allocate resources. So thank you.
Okay, so our next question will be for Ms. Dupini. What do you feel your biggest challenge will be within your tenure if successfully elected?
Thank you for that question. I think my biggest challenge is adjusting to the role, coming from representing just the Frank Royal Hall and being Frank Royal Hall chair. As Guild Vice President, I would now have to work with students from different halls and commuters as well. So adjusting to working with everyone, which wouldn't be a problem, but that would be my biggest challenge, just not supporting only Frank Royal, but supporting all students on campus.
What made you take on this position?
Thank you for that question. I believe what inspired me to really go for this position was being part of the current ICC. I know the work and I've seen the effort put in by just not the president of the ICC, but also the members of the ICC. And I'm very patriotic in representing my country. So I believe that I will be able to assist the other presidents of the different island associations to put in that same effort and energy to make all clubs and societies and country and island associations on campus feel represented.
Your fourth mandate is seen as a very important. Mandate number 4 I see as very important. I just want to know your method of creating and also promoting and longevity strategies.
Your fourth mandate is seen as very important.
Good night, everyone. Sorry. Thank you, Rihanna, for putting yourself up for service. So what I'm really asking about this is about your fourth mandate, which is restoring success. I just want to know your methods of creating, promoting, and longevity strategies, because I know sometimes it doesn't pass on, but I find that the presidents need this for a smooth running of their tenure.
For that question, with my Soaring Success mandate, my first goal is creating a guide kind of similar to the, well, not similar to the magazine, but the idea of the magazine that I created for my mandates. What this guide will entail is, because I'm president of DOMSAC, I know what to expect when coming into the position. So therefore, I would create a guide that helps the incoming presidents know how to secure sponsorship and foster active participation in their club. So it would be like a physical booklet that they could see with detailed information on what to do, how to seek sponsorship, how to keep their members in, like, active in the club. This mandate also will document, for example, the different activities that each club has done and how they carried out this activity. I also plan to work with the Department of Records and Archive Keeping on campus to help store that information.
Okay, so this next question is for both Shaboni and Faith. How do you intend to improve the transparency that is currently between the Guild Council and the Guild of Students?
Thank you for that question. So, like I would have stated in my mandates, one of my first mandates is to create a Guild portfolio. With that document, it will basically include summarized records of the different initiatives and activities that different Guild councils would have done throughout their tenure. So in the case of the treasurer, not only would have his bio information on that portfolio, but you will also have the financial records of the Guild councils, which are supposed to remain public for the Guild students.
Thanks for that question. Like I was said in my mandates that I would make a guide for the ICC bodies. So the different presidents for the island associations will then pass on any important documents or information that the Guild has decided on to each and every organization and association throughout the ICC. Thank you.
So the question is for Tyson, President. What specific needs of the students and of Keyville do you intend to address, and how do you intend to address them?
Okay, so thank you for that question. One specific need I think that I spoke to is definitely the enhancement of opportunities for professional development. My role is UBSTAC. We would have had an initiative we call Professional Development Day, where we bring in persons to take professional photos of our members in the Corps, as well as help them with CV building and interview sessions. And I believe that that is something that if we can execute at the wider student body level rather than just at the UBSTAC level, that we can all benefit from an initiative like that. So thank you very much.
Okay, this question is also for Tyson. You spoke about increasing subsections. However, a lot of organizations within the campus have not received this subvention to this presently. So how do you plan to increase it when there's already an issue with getting the current amount?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for that question. However, the increasing of the subvention amount is not directly tied to actually receiving them. However, what I can say is that I would advocate and probably prepare in such a manner that we can have all of the information ready and all of the required financial details of the clubs and associations so that we can adequately and ensure that they get their subventions on time, in addition to what I intend to do, and that is increase the subvention amount. Thank you very much.
Okay, our next question is from Mr. Pini. How do you plan to ensure equality with the disbursement of funds to halls of residence and ICC community organizations?
Thank you for that question. The decision to distribute funds and subvention is not solely up to me as Vice President of the Guild, but it would be in collaboration with the Guild of Students, Treasurer, and the President of the Guild of Students. So it would be something that would be decided across the board. It's not just a decision that I make on my own and say that because I am Dominican, I'm going to give DOMSAC 5,000. It would be a decision of the Guild of Students, not just mine.
Our next question is for both the secretary candidates. Can you tell us about your previous experience working as a secretary or in similar administrative roles?
Thank you for that question. So prior to coming to university, I worked as a legal clerk for several years. That is where I got my practical experience in being a secretary of government. Besides that, I hold several executive positions on campus, and in some of those roles, I've been made to be an assistant secretary or as in-place secretary when they were not in office, and I was required to take minutes, etc. So I do have practical experience and experience in different societies on campus in being a secretary.
Previously, I've served on multiple organizations, both at secondary school and national level back in St. Lucia, as secretary and assistant secretary from the year 2017 up to 2022 before I came to UE. And I also worked 2 years at a primary school as secretary. So these years helped me develop my skills through being a secretary, and I've worked adequately with all organizations and governments that I have worked with as secretary. Thank you.
Okay, our next question is for the candidate for Guild President. In your action slogan, the I stands for innovative volunteerism with inclusion of regional students. Can you expound on this and what benefits will there be for regional students?
Okay, thank you much for that question. I would have stated in my speech that the primary focus of including the regional students into the Give Back hours is on the premise that the volunteer hours make you more eligible for scholarships such as Sheepney, Rhodes, Fulbright, among many others. And those that the accessibility to volunteerism in a country in which you do not reside is quite difficult. So to be forward-thinking students, we must ensure that we enhance our volunteerism and that we see that volunteerism is not just this Give Back program, but it's an opportunity for us to give our services as an institution, as a student body. Thank you.
Okay, so we moved on from, so you all can come down and ask your questions if you feel free. The form is also open again, so if you do not want to come down, you can just send your questions if you want.
Alright, so my question, my first question actually, is for both of the secretarial candidates. From your speeches, you have both mentioned boosting collaboration with and training of association secretaries, especially new secretaries. What plans will you implement to improve the efficiency and quality of secretaries, and how are you sure that these plans will work?
Thank you for that question. So, like I said, I want to implement a workshop called the Secretariat. This will be geared towards giving secretaries formal training when they come into their offices, primarily in the beginning of the semester and at the end, ideally. But I know that a lot of events happen throughout the semester, so it may not happen twice. But I want it to happen at least once each semester. This training, this workshop, will be done in collaboration with OSS, who I have already contacted, and they promised to help me work on this mandate. They also promised to help me implement it as early as possible, so they will help me gather professional individuals to help train different secretaries, providing them with the various soft and hard skills required to fulfill their roles responsibly.
With my experience, I will have training sessions with the secretaries. Also, I will have a guide to send to them, because I know after training sessions, some of the information that we take in do not stick with us. So I will surely implement a guide so that they can have it to look back on any information that I give at the training or any professional give at the training, so that they can have it as an overview throughout the tenure, so that they will be smooth and successful.
As a second part of the first question, how have you engaged association secretaries in forming your plan?
Thanks for the question again. I have already spoken to several secretaries about this workshop. They told that they are willing and look forward to it. They also relate their concerns with regards to them not having that sort of training when they came into office. I know that the Guild Librarian was working on providing a similar type of workshop for secretaries, but it was not finalized or implemented. But they are willing and able to work on it, and they want to see come to fruition.
So I have not gotten around to all secretaries as yet, but for sure, the organizations I'm part of, I'm definitely working with them closely, and of course I'll branch out to the other organizations and associations throughout the campus.
Hi, good night. This question is for the president candidate. Earlier in your one of your response to the questions, you stated activities you've partaken in this semester to show that you're an active Blackbird, but those can be seen as like a campaign tactic. Can you tell me any events that you've partaken in before deciding to run for this position?
I must admit that I'm not a big partier, but last semester I did attend the Freshers' Fest, and with all of they have all of the dye throwing everywhere and the soap, and it was enjoyable. And I will commit to participate in those activities if elected. So thank you very much for that question.
Lastly, my last question is for the vice presidential candidate. As an executive member of GAISA, I can say that our association in particular has been newly formed, has a small membership, and has limited resources. You've answered a previous question where you've asserted that you are keen on improving representation for all country associations and raising awareness of associations through a magazine initiative, both of which I commend. But I would like to know the plans you have to assist the smaller associations in particular, and how you are certain that these plans will work.
Thank you for that question. I believe that Thursday Monday that you are referring to is the answer to your question. Sorry, with success. as president of DOMSAC, I know how to work with a small island association. DOMSAC probably has 30 members, and therefore I know GISA, I will be able to give you that guide which will help you as well, because it has worked for DOMSAC. Our membership has increased and our participation is very consistent. So with that guide, you will be able to, GISA will be able to excel as well. Thank you.
Okay, so our next question is for the president. Why are there so many scholarships for Bajans when most of the students, most Bajans go to school for free and not for regional students? What can be done about this?
Thank you very much for that question. I must admit that how many scholarships are available to Bajan students is not my call. However, I have proposed an initiative where it enables regional students to strengthen their eligibility for scholarships, such as the Shivne, the Fulbright, the Rhodes, etc. And there are a whole list of scholarships that require you to give back to have volunteer hours. So that was what my initiative was aiming to do, and I will continue to liaise with you and hear what it is that you want in order to attain more scholarships. So thank you.
How can you ensure that your mandate to revamp the UHL app is successful given the intricacies involved with such a task?
Okay, thank you so much. I think that is an excellent question, and I think that's why I placed it at the top and went into so much detail about how I wanted to go about this revamp. And it was first because one, I will place a lot of emphasis on developing this app, because by developing this app, it solves a lot of issues, like the communication channels. Sometimes for me personally, the WhatsApp communities are a bit cluttered, as well as the spam-like emails from certain offices. And I think that it breaks up the monotony of the way that we receive communications and we receive notices. So I definitely do believe that I will place a lot of emphasis and advocate for the revamp of the initial app. And I do believe that because of this emphasis, I will get it done. Thank you very much.
Okay, hi Tyson. What do you think about the current girls' performance and anything that you think you could improve upon?
I think that the girl has done an excellent job, especially in particular the ICC. I have to give Emily her props. She did excellently. Javon, he pulled off the Chancellor Sports. He had which was participated, and that came out excellently. However, some things that I would improve on is that it is included in my transparency mandate. I want to emphasize the importance of justifying certain expenditures, because I know that as a student body, we don't particularly dislike the investments made, but we certainly do would like an explanation, and I believe that if elected as the president, I would absolutely offer that to you. Thank you.
What plans do you have to continue and expand the welfare programs of the current group?
I can't say that I have all of the answers right now, but what I can tell you is that I do understand and know that the clubs and especially island and country associations do assist their members through their welfare, and I know that by increasing the subvention amount, they will be able to better facilitate the welfare for their students and ensure that the island associations have more money to play with in order to, support their students. Thank you.
Given the Give Back program's goal is to allow Bajan students to complete hours of community service in exchange for their tuition reimbursement, and the campus clubs and organizations enable regional students to obtain real-world experience while enrolling in classes. The person would like to know, how your mandates actually benefit regional students. Given the Give Back program's goal is to allow Bayesian students to complete hours of community service in exchange for their tuition reimbursement, and the campus clubs and organizations enable regional students to obtain real-world experience while enrolled in classes, I would like to know how your mandate actually benefits regional students.
Okay, again, by giving you all the opportunity to have the volunteer hours formally logged and backed by an institution such as the Ministry of Education of Barbados, it makes your volunteer hours much more credible. What I plan to do to enhance it, or before I plan to do what I intend to do to enhance it, I must inform you that the reality is there is an endless demand for volunteerism. There's no supply chain logistics. We as an institution have the opportunity to go and volunteer, and what I intend to do is ensure that we have more private sector and civil society partnerships in order to ensure that the amount of volunteerism needed, to ensure that the amount of businesses we have that are registered under the Give Back program are not less than the amount of students that we have on campus. Thank you.
Good night. This question is for everybody. But before I begin, also thank you for putting yourselves up for service. Outside of fulfilling your responsibilities under your respective portfolios, the Guild of Students is responsible for keeping the campus spirit alive. What qualities or characteristics do you possess that can entice students to attend Guild events and ensure that students feel engaged, involved, and feel the vibe that they do?
Thank you again for that question. So in my first year here at university, I was PRO of the Frank Royal Hall, and during that time, I would have increased, I can't remember the exact statistic, but I would have increased engagement on Instagram page by over 100%. And in doing that, I would have made my personal responsibility to go to at least almost every event on campus. If there was an event on campus, you saw it on Frank's Instagram page. I believe that for the perseverance and dedication is going to translate into this role. In my second or current year, I am constitutional chairperson of the Frank Royal Hall, I'm liaison officer for Windsor, and floor member for Adfair. As constitutional chairperson, I am very dedicated to amending the constitution, and I'm putting in a great effort to make sure that the whole life is as safe as possible. As liaison officer for Windsor, and sure many of you here would have seen at almost every NGO that they've been on campus. I made sure to integrate myself with all ICC presidents and associations. That, I believe, answers the question that I am a very dedicated person, and I'm willing and able to put in the effort to make sure that the presence is felt here on Caveville and that the vibes are felt.
I can encourage other persons to attend events on campus and also uplift the campus spirit by testimonies of me going to events and giving my feedback on how I felt about each event to encourage them to go to it. And also within the different organizations I'm part of, we always talk to each other about other events that we think that we should always attend. So that's the way we could always encourage school community spirit. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that question. I believe my position, well, apart from my position as guild president, I think that I'm a very nice, gentle bully. I am able to get persons to attend activities and events, and I would say that in this position, I will have the support of the different Island Association presidents, and if you could get the presidents of the Island Association and country presidents to come out, then you could get them to bring at least 3 or 5 people with them from their respective islands, and that way I know for sure that I will be able to get at least 20 people to come out. Also, being the hall chairperson of the Frank Royal Hall, I know that the residents of Frank Royal Hall and the influence rub off on the other halls as well for residents to come out and support all events.
Thank you for that question. I believe that qualities I possess are definitely my personality. I am a very down-to-earth and very chill person. I like to have intellectual conversations. But outside of that, I believe that ultimately having a positive Barbadian representation, we can definitely have a more active and robust Barbadians on campus, which is something that I would have heard that y'all would have liked to see so that you can be more in tune to what the authentic Barbadian experience it is. And having been here, I think that for about 3 years of your life, I think that's what you deserve. So, thank you very much.
Okay, this will be the last question of the night. Okay, this question is for Faith. Can you explain exactly what this guide system would entail?
The guide for secretaries will entail all documents that's necessary for you to execute your role successfully. So it will entail a minute outline, also sponsor letters, templates, and other templates that are necessary for secretaries to perform their duties adequately.
Alright, so that's for the Vice President. Well, thank you all for putting yourselves up for service. That's commendable. So my question is, are you aware of the renting of Gill equipment for Island Association for profit purposes? So what are your views on this, given that the Gill considers themselves as non-profit? And how can you mitigate that issue, given that you will be the president of the... You want me to repeat? Or are you good? Alright.
Thank you for that question. I believe that material and equipment that the Gill purchases is property of the Gill, and I believe that it should be rented out. I know all may not agree, but if the equipment is damaged or we don't have the equipment available, then the Gill will be blamed for not having a tent or not having a speaker. And if we don't have the funds in our possession to purchase this equipment, then there will be no equipment for renting. So we do need to put a fee to renting this equipment, and in the event that it is damaged or misplaced, that we will have funds available to replace those equipment. Thank you.
All questions directed towards the candidate for president has been closed off.
Good night, everyone. Good night to the candidates. Considering that all of the question is to all of you, considering that you all will sit on the Gill executive if elected, considering the role of the Gill has a lot to do with throwing parties to engage students in entertainment, and none of you would have expressed your expertise in that regard. How it is do you intend to host successful events? Thank you. student body.
Can you please quiet down so that the candidates can answer the question?
Thank you for that question. The Guild of Students is not one individual person, and I do believe that there is a specific individual responsible for creating events and hosting those types of events on the Guild of Students, so that would primarily be their responsibility. That is not to start the entire Guild of Students will not assist them in carrying out that role, but I would like to assist them.
I believe the role of hosting events as a guild is not solely one person's job, but I mean, like somebody said, that it will be a group initiative to host a successful event. So it's not a sole person's job. So it's everyone's input. Thank you for that question. My response to that question is not that the Guild of Students is responsible for hosting parties. The Guild of Students is responsible for advocating for you is a cultural aspect of our being as students. We are regional students, and partying and carnival and events, fest is our nature, our culture, but it's not the responsibility of the Guild of Students to host and throw fests.
Okay, thank you very much. I share a similar sentiment to Ms. Dupini, but I do know that Dupini is, I agree with her sentiment, but I still do know that the fests are a big part of our culture, and I believe that, especially as a Barbadian, it is a strategic position because I have the private sector and the public sector and other various partnerships that I would be able to leverage and easily use in my position that would make for a much more vibrant event and so on. Thank you.
All right, good night, everybody. Good night, candidates. Firstly, I want to thank Good night, everybody. Good night. Special pleasantries to the candidates. I want to thank everyone for putting yourself up for service. My question is directed to the vice president candidate. So I'm asking you, what are your perspectives on the existing criteria for evaluating Island and Country Association activities and their performances? Do you think there is room for reform to ensure fair, objective, and transparent judgment, particularly providing smaller Island and Country Associations with an equitable opportunity for a fair assessment?
Thank you for that question. I do agree that it is important to reform the current process that is being used to judge the participation and the activities hosted by the different country and island associations. And like you rightfully said, it might be to a disadvantage to the small and island associations. But I do believe in having that document reformed and setting it in a fair way that I could share with the presidents and that I could get their input and ensure that it will suit everybody's needs and everybody will have a fair chance at being Island Association of the Year.
Thank you.
So, if anyone has any other questions, the floor is closed, but if you'd like to ask questions, you can come down and ask questions. We'll take 2 more questions. Okay, if anyone has any more questions, no one has any more questions,
Okay, so my question really goes to all of the candidates, particularly because they form the exec of the guild. When the electoral process and the process of trying to garner candidates can be hard. Our current council unfortunately didn't have a full council. We didn't have a secretary when we assumed the office, didn't have a PRO, didn't have other positions. Unfortunately, the same scenario has taken place. Not all of our councillors have been filled because of the fact that not everyone is putting up for service at the moment. Unfortunately, there is no PRO candidate and there is no treasurer candidate. Two roles that are very, very, very important and essential to the functioning of the guild. Mr. Holder, of course, would have indicated that he wants transparency, he wants communication. Of course, for transparency, you need to have someone to manage the funds. For communication, you need to have a PRO. Of course, these things happen. We can't change them. I do imagine that as the cycle continues, a by-election will be facilitated, and not a by-election, appointments will be held to fill the position. But in the interim, what do, if it's successfully elected, all three of you will be on the exec. As the exec, what measures do you have in place to properly mitigate those potential issues that you have? Because delegating is one thing, but not having anyone to delegate proper responsibilities to is another. So you may find that Tyson may be having to be the treasurer, or the other executive members may have to take on additional roles. So because of that issue, because there will be an interim where there may not necessarily be the proper filling of the position, do you guys think that you're best suited to get that done?
So, like I would have said previously, in my first year, I was a PRO. Like I would have said previously, in my first year, I was a PRO, and I have held several different positions on campus that have allowed me the ability to put forth my best effort in helping the guild to fulfill any responsibilities they may have. That was a concern, that the fact that all the positions were not filled. It was a concern for me when I was campaigning. I have already started speaking to certain persons, trying to convince them to take up different positions beforehand. So hopefully those positions will be filled as soon as possible.
So previously I've not had any experience as a PRO, but I do serve as a VP of Finance on the USTAT executive. So if I'm elected, I can surely help in the area of treasurer. Furthermore, I guess, like you said, and I guess the other executive who can help out in any other way, such as PRO or treasurer, we can work as a team to help successfully run through the tenure until we get someone to fill the positions.
For our question, I think our first step would be to encourage persons, and I'm sure that tonight I have surely inspired at least one or two persons to want to be on the guild. So I believe that our first step is like making ourselves visible. That way persons will want to be part of the guild of students. And if not, I think that I'm very creative and I'm able to work in different positions and work on the different, well, complete different tasks. So I will be able and willing to assist where necessary.
Thank you very much for that question. I also share a similar sentiment to the Vice President candidate as well. I do believe that visibility is crucial, and actually explaining what it is that the guild does more effectively, because sometimes when I was encouraging other persons to join, they were asking, so what is the role? What am I intending to do? What will be expected of me? So I think more clearly explaining and outlining the roles, because sometimes the Constitution even outlines it, but it's not exactly go into the nitty-gritty of what is exactly expected of us. But if we do fail to find someone to fit the position, I have been responsible for my entire tenure as UBSTAC president. I've been PRO as well, and I've created every single graphic that went out on the page. And I know that I will be more than capable of assisting in that regard. I also have a background in economics, so that should not be a problem as well. So thank you very much.
So we'll be taking no more questions at this time. So thank you everyone for coming out tonight. Thanks to all the candidates, both this group and the first group. And please all remember to come out tomorrow for the second group of candidates, which will be faculty reps as well as the hall. Good night.